I'd like to talk now about, in summary, just to remind those at the conference what we were talking about, some key points from neurolinguistics and various other aspects of psychology that can help you a lot in your negotiations, so that your negotiations mean business in the real sense of the word, building relationships that build business for your meetings and events, industry, practice or consultancy or whatever you're involved with, associated with that. First of all, I believe the psychology of persuasion is made up of many things. You've probably all heard of the experiment where if you take a bucket of quite hot water and put one hand in, and at the same time take a bucket of quite cool water, even cold, and put the other hand in, leave them there for a while till one hand feels very hot, the other hand feels very cold, and then you put both of those hands in a same lukewarm bucket of water. The hand that was in the hot water will feel cold, and the hand that was in the cold, icy water will feel warm, and yet they're both in the same temperature. The message from the experiment, of course, is that our experience is affected by our own perception and environment at any one particular time. So what we want to do is create an environment and perception about us that people want to deal with us. Heider's balance theory comes to play. And Heider once said, they all want to be like people like us or who we'd like to be like. Now, one of the most commonly heard expressions in negotiation in Australia, I believe, pardon me, is the yeah but clause. No matter what the other person said, it's yeah but and then on we go, yeah but and on we go. And the message the person's getting, of course, when we say yeah but is, you're rejecting me and now you think your idea is better, which of course you might. But that's not the good message to put over if you want to build a relationship. In Heider's balance theory, it says we need to be able to get people to like us because we're like them. That means we need to be building rapport. We need to be able to see things from their perspective. And that means we have to practice the very, very important communication skill of reflective listening. Now, when we listen to someone reflectively, even if we disagree what they say, we get a real sense of what they're saying, what they're wanting, what their meaning is. In neurolinguistic terms, we call it taking the second position. The first position in any negotiation is our point of view, what we want to put over. So they're in the first position as they tell us. But you don't get anywhere in negotiation by listening to the other side in your own first position, because you'll be thinking, yeah, but they'll pick that message up and they'll try all the harder to put their message over, and they'll get more and more sense that it's not happening and the gap broadens. But if you can train yourself to be in the second position, which is a dispassionate position, the position that someone not involved in the arrangement at all might just be able to look over your shoulder. But the second position is putting yourself really in their shoes. If you like, the dispassionate position totally would be a third position, but we're not going to talk about that one here. Try to put yourself in their shoes so that you are totally in their space. You're looking at the language patterns they use. You're looking at the key point of what they're saying. And they might even be disagreeing with you. They might be, for example, saying you never ever get your proposals in on time, and when you do, you don't address the things we're doing. Now, or things we're asking you to, our likely reaction to that is defensiveness. We always get them in on time, and you never tell us what you want, and that's going nowhere. It's creating the gap. But if when they say something like that, you don't get your proposals in on time, and when you do, you haven't addressed the key points, it would be better to say, so you would like to see us spend a little more time dedicated to deadlines and to address the issues of content with you a little bit more accurately. And all of a sudden, you've formed a relationship. You've agreed with them. You've paced their inner experience. So they get the sense, this person really understands me. They are in rapport with me. We are building a relationship. And all that's happening at a subconscious level. Simple, powerful thing to do. Once again, there are many, many aspects of neuroscience, NLP, persuasion theory we can talk about. But I just want to summarise the main points I made at the conference. Perhaps in other videos at a later time, we'll put more information forward on this very, very important topic of negotiation. Now, everybody negotiates from what we call 4 states, and I'd like to go through those and wrap up. Those 4 states are as follows. 1, what we call a no-problem state. Now, in neurolinguistic programming in negotiation, we say we have 2 sorts of states. We have a current state and a desired state. A desired state is how we want to feel about something. The current state is how we actually feel now as we think about that thing. Now, obviously, if two people in a negotiation are in their desired state, it's meaning they're feeling the way they want to feel about something. Now, I'm talking about a positive feeling here, not I want to be angry with you. I'm talking about feeling the way you'd feel if you got the outcome you're seeking from the negotiation. Now, when two people reach the desired state, there is no problem, it's gone. The negotiation's been successful. Now, if the other person is in a non-desired state internally about the issue or about an issue, and you're in a desired state, it means that the position that you're talking about is what you want. The position they're talking about is something they're not comfortable with. Now, our job as a relationship builder negotiator is to try and help them get to a desired state, and that might mean us moving around, but we still want to make sure we don't get out of it. And the way we do that in neuro-linguistic terms is we help them. We become a helper. We use reflective listening. We feed stuff back. We offer alternatives. In negotiation, we say the best way to come to a good conclusion is to start with hundreds of good conclusions. And that suggests we use our creative mind to look at alternatives rather than our analytical mind to try and force someone to our point of view. So in this helpful state, we're listening to what people say, opening their mind using those reflective listening skills. For example, they might make 4 or 5 points and we go back and mirror their state of being or their consciousness as they think about it by saying something like, so you believe we'll be able to come to a solution if we could move on to da 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 da. You're reflecting their experience back to them, and now you're in a position where you can look at the possibilities within a narrow field. You're getting a stronger sense of where you need to be focusing in order to move them to a desired state. And now you can try and do that or attempt to do that, move into the work of doing that without moving yourself out of the desired state. So that's the second position. When the other side is in an undesired state, not happy about the situation, and you are happy. Must avoid the need, if you want to use negotiation to build business by building relationships, of sitting back glumly being defensive and saying, tough luck you, regardless of ourselves, as we would in a respectful marriage or partnership. In a social or personal partnership, when the other person's unhappy, out of respect, we do our best to try and change the environment so they can choose to be happy again. So firstly, both parties in the desired state, no problem. Secondly, the other side in an undesired state, me in a desired state, helpful mode. Third stage, the other party quite obviously is in a desired state and happy about the situation. Me, I'm feeling terrible, I'm not at all happy. Well, my job now is to take responsibility, to take ownership for that problem and to try and fix it. In other words, I go into problem-solving mode. And in problem-solving mode, instead of focusing on forcing everybody to get what I want, which is what we normally do, in neuro-linguistic terms, we have to open ourselves up to other possibilities of solving the problem. It's pretty straightforward when you think about it. It's just we never do it in the heat, or we seldom do it in the heat of the moment. So we open ourselves up to work with the other side to look at potential and opportunity. We develop the skill of not looking at everything they say as something that we've got to hit for 6, as we would say in Australia, to just knock it out of the arena of consideration. And when we're in problem-solving mode, when we're looking at more things, when we're looking at benefits of things we hadn't even thought about as a solution, that's when we come up with the best solutions. And for those of you who are at the conference, the story I told you about the Olympic Stadium screens, now would be a good time to recall that and just remember what a great example that was of thinking outside the square on behalf of everybody to build that long-term relationship. The fourth stage is where I'm in a state, or the fourth state, if you like, in neuro-linguistic terms of negotiation, is I'm not happy, I'm in an undesired state, the other side's in an undesired state, and that's where the real issues in negotiations arise and relationships fall apart. Because that's normally the state you're in when you get into a negotiation. Neither party's happy with the situation, so you're both in undesired states.